Hey, welcome back. Good to see you again. Hope you're all well. Thanks for joining the channel. Today on the bench I have a duet. This is a Sansui A550 and complementary tuner T550. I picked this up locally on a buy and sell internet site. Didn't pay much for it. Well, maybe I did pay too much for it considering what it is. But I wanted to work on one of these and get it going, and I picked this up for a specific reason. I have some plans for it. Probably I'll reveal the plans towards the end of the video, but for now what I want to do is I want to go through these two and I want to make sure they're working at their peak, and probably what I'll do is I'll end up recapping the amplifier, and the tuner I'm not going to bother recapping. I'm just going to make sure it's working good. I don't have much interest in the tuner itself, but I'm more interested in what's going on within this amplifier. That's my intention here, is to focus on this. So I did pick this up. It's used. He said it was working. When I went to pick it up, the lady that sold it to me says, "Oh, he's also got the cassette deck that goes with it, but it's not working. Would you want it for $10 extra?" And I said I declined. I'm just going to pay $10 for a broken cassette deck, especially from this combo. So I passed on it, and I was thinking I should have just picked it up. You know, maybe it was an easy fix, or we could have made a video on it. But this is Sansui at its worst. This is after it sold out, and my opinion is they went downhill. And then I think after this they changed the branding. Anyways, I think this is after Sansui really stumbled and dropped the ball. So we're going to have a good look at this amplifier and this tuner, and we're going to get it going. But let's try it out first. Got the connected to speakers. Let's turn on speakers A. Where are we? Tuner. Let's turn on the power for the tuner. Let's turn it to AM for starts. Can't see the dial indicator there. It must be lit. So let's turn this on. Oh, I gotta plug it in first. That would help. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go live this time. And we got a little bit of light here. Got a feeble little LED that's shining through. I can see the dial now. We've got unequal sound in both channels. No AM tuner, we pick up absolutely zero, which is kind of a disappointment. Okay, let's try FM.
By signing up today.
Okay, I'm getting stations, but they're all mushy and no stereo.
That's beautiful.
The one with an oval. Good morning with Chris Jeff.
Yeah, it's not working very good at all.
Brazil.
Wow, this is terrible. No stations on the top end of the band. Absolutely nothing from about 100. That's seriously messed up. Okay, so what do we got here? We got that's the right channel. Left. That doesn't sound equal at all. Getting a lot of hum. Yeah, we're getting hum. Tuner is not working at what worth a. Look at the difference between left channel and right. Maybe it's just dirty switches. No stereo. Yeah, so we got problems with both units. Okay, so like I said, my intention is to do a full recap on the amplifier. What I want to do is get it working at its peak optimum performance, and then I want to put it on my test bed and listen to it for a week or two, and I want to get a good baseline of how this thing sounds after I've done the work, and I want to see how great it sounds. I don't have much hope for these Sansui, these plastic Sansuis. Yeah, they were built down to a price, and they were just built to create profits for the company. I think they were working on their legacy name, and really not providing anything of substance to the consumer with these, other than making some noise. So let's get into this. Let's start with the amplifier first. Okay, so let's have a look inside. Take the top off. Looks clean. So yeah, it's pretty unremarkable. You got a little tiny power transformer here. It's not very big, not much beef to it. I got it unplugged. Here we have a power switch board and a fuse. And this here, I don't know why they have double switches. What's going on here? There's two switches. Maybe that's for a muting circuit or something. Right in the center we have a power amplifier board with a little output speaker board on the back, and this power amplifier board is run from an STK 4843. Couple 3900 microfarad caps, tiny little caps. They're rated at 42 volts. Nothing really special here. On the left-hand side, or right-hand side, sorry, we got our inputs that all run to the front for the switching, and we have a little phono equalizer board here, right channel, left channel. It's all run from a chip. Again, nothing really spectacular there. So we have a couple of display boards here, and I think this one is our mode, or our function display, and this is just a lighting board. I think it just lights up the fancy display in the front. It was pretty feeble looking. I could barely see the light coming through. Volume control board and loudness button on this. Our tone control board on here. And some switching down there for speakers and stuff. It's really sparse. So, does it have a removable bottom? Yes, I think it does. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably recap the power amplifier and recap the tone board. And what else can we do? Pots were fairly clean. I cleaned them again anyway. And then we're going to do some tests after I finish all that work. So just hang in there. Alright, before I do anything though, I want to take some baseline measurements of the amplifier, how it's performing, if it's healthy or not. So I got it hooked up to my 8 ohm load, and I'm monitoring RMS voltage across this 8 ohm resistor like usual. I'm scoping both channels. The left channel is on the top of your screen there, on the top's trace. So let's turn this on and see what this thing can do. I have actually no documentation on this combo, or this duet. I couldn't find any schematics. I couldn't find any manuals. I didn't really look that hard either, but let's try this out. Turn it on and turn up the volume. So here we go. Going up to full power. It's clipping right there. Let's turn it down a little bit. Right about there is clipping. Let's measure this. We got 16.03 volts RMS. See how this thing does. It's looking pretty clean signal. I did have a problem with the switch on the right channel. It seems like the switch is really flaky. You see how the amplitude drops when I fiddle with it? So that switch is definitely needing cleaning. See how the right channel is dropping away? It's losing contact. The more I play with it, the better it gets, which is typical for any old switch that hasn't been used in years. Okay, let's go. See how this is doing. It's doing not bad. Let's see what we can get for maximum power here. Yeah, I think that was it. You see the power supply capacitors, limitations there, the 60 cycle ripple, or 120 cycle ripple. Yeah, we're maxing out at 16 volts RMS on the output. Okay, I think I've seen enough. So let's shut this down and let's go about doing some work on this thing. Have a look at this Sansui build quality, and yeah, it's becoming apparent. You see this row of contacts here, this is a switch and this is a switch, and notice there's nothing here. Look, there's a tuner switch here, but there's no contacts. This is the tape and this is the phono, but when you deselect either of these two, it automatically goes to tuner. They don't even put the switch contacts there. It's a empty switch. Wow. So I gave a good inspection all the printed circuit boards, and for the most part it's pretty good. I only found cracked solders on the STK chip, and that seems to be the only spot where I found them. I haven't checked the power board, and I haven't checked the tone board too carefully, but I can see there's really no cracks to talk about. Yeah, it's just the STK chip is cracked. Some cracked chips here on this channel. I don't know which one that is, but yeah, I'm not plugged in. I want to take out these main filter caps and measure them. I have a feeling they are down in capacitance. So they got some good weight to them. They're not dried out, it doesn't feel like. Let me short these out so that we can't damage our meter. And let's see what this has to say for itself. So these are spec'd at 3900 microfarad 42 volts, and I'm reading 3500 microfarad 38 milliohms, which is pretty good. I don't think the capacitors are, this one's even better. This is around 3700 microfarads, 38 milliohms. So these caps are okay. I'm just thinking that they're probably underrated for the amplifier. So we're going to upgrade these to something more substantial. We got lots of room, lots of height. We can put anything in. I got some 6800s I could probably fit in there, or 10,000s. We'll see. We'll see what fits. Just going to show you a little bit of recapping here. I got most of the board done already, just a few minutes. I replaced all these 47 microfarad at 50 volt. I have two caps here. One's a 4710 volt, another 4710 volt. What I typically do is I'll replace all the same value at the same time. I'll look the board over. If I have a bunch of 10 microfarads at a specific voltage, I'll pull them all out, and then I'll replace all those ones. And that way I don't get mixed up as to voltage and capacitance. So I'll have two capacitors here to pull out. 47 at 10 volts, 47 at 10 volts. I'll pull those two out, and then we'll replace them. And I'm typically testing these as I pull them out, and they're all showing high ESR, at least double or even triple of what they should be. This one reads 45 microfarad at 3.4 ohms ESR. Let's get the other one out. Where is it? It's down here. Okay. This one here measures 43 microfarad at 4 ohms ESR. My replacements are here, and they measure 44.5 microfarads, 2.2 ohms. These are brand new caps, so they have a lower ESR. Let's just put these in. The board's marked for positive. You can see, where did this one go over? Down here. All caps have a long lead and a short lead. The long lead is always a positive, so you can use that to your advantage when you can't see. So I'll put these two caps in. Let's solder these ones up. There we go. Trim leads. And then we're done. We move on to the other. I got 3 more caps to do. One's a 4.7, and then 1 microfarad. I'll probably replace these with film caps. Check out this silver migration on this bridge rectifier. You can see the black fuzz on the legs. Oh, you can see that. I hope you can. Try bending it back. You see all that black fuzz on there? That's silver. Typically these are silver plate over copper wire. Yeah, that's. Let me try wiping it off. See how it wipes off, and then it leaves black oxides. That's all. That's all silver. Look, I left a little pile of dirt on the bottom of the board there. I wiped the other side. Look at how dirty that is. That's all silver. So on a bridge rectifier like this, it's not a big deal. If you get a little bridge of silver, it's just going to flash over and arc and clean itself. But when you get a small signal transistor, that's, you know, like the, what are they, the 2SC 458s, I think they are. Let me look at my sheet here. 2SC458. Yeah, they're small signal, they're low current, and they're low voltage. The leads are a lot closer together, and the chances of a short circuit from this stuff is a lot greater. And this is the stuff that shorts out and causes hiss and noise and crackling and rumble. So the only solution for the transistor is to replace it. This bridge rectifier, I'm not worried about. It's not going to do anything. There's no harm in this. I'm just going to clean it up and let it go. But just wanted to show you that. So this cheap Sansui amplifier is so cheap that they don't even use traditional screws and nuts and bolts. They just snap everything together here. I'm just looking at this. The tone controls come out. They're held in by these two clips. Pull the knobs off. The plastic knobs, of course. They're not aluminum anymore. And then this thing just snaps in from behind. And you pull it out. And there's no threaded connectors or nothing. It's just cheap, cheap, cheap. And there's another bracket here that snaps on. Pull that off if I need to service the pots. But I'm just trying to get at these four caps here in the tone circuit, and they're not making my life very easy. I have to pull this board, I think, and I'll have to desolder this, which isn't a problem. I just use some solder wick. But yeah, they could have made this better. It's just cheap. Okay, so let's get some solder wick here and see if we can get this off. Where's my flux? Here it is. Let's put some flux on all this. Okay, solder wick. Going to be, I wonder if I could, no. It's going to be moving around on me here. It's going to be difficult. Let's try this. The problem with these solder pads that connect like this is if you flex them, they break, and you rip the pad from the board. Let's see, I got one more here. So you've got to be very careful with them. Okay, I think we're just about done. I've got one more to do. Just about there. I think one more. I think we're done. I think we're done. Let's pull it out if we can. It's holding it. Should be nothing. Should be nothing holding it. Does it pop out? Maybe I still. Oh. These boards are brittle. I don't want to break them. Okay, I think it's hooked here maybe. Maybe this side's got to come out first. Let me try this side. Is it glued? Oh, there we go. It's hooked on this corner. Yeah, hooked on this corner and hooked on this corner. So it snaps in. You got to take it out a certain way, otherwise you break things. Okay, so I got the board out. I can change these 4 caps, and then I can put it back together, clean these pots, and then I'm pretty much done. I got the main board, the main power amplifier recapped. I'm not touching the phono stage at all. I'm not interested in that today. Switches. I don't know what I'll do with the switches. Probably end up just leaving them alone for now. So I checked these potentiometers, and yes, they are cracked. And I'm assuming it's because they Sansui in their poor wisdom, they have such a small pad size on the board, plus the fact that you have to manhandle this thing to get it in and out to snap it into place, puts stress on all those connections, and I think that's the reason why it cracks. That plus too, there's no knobs, there's no threaded knobs on any of these pots, and what that does is it allows a little bit of movement in the pot, between the pot and the board. Anytime you get any movement or stress on the board or in the connections, they crack. So I'm just going to resolder these quick. Yeah, this Sansui is not living up to its name. And you know what? I'm going to be hard on it this video. I'm tired of seeing this crap, and that they produce, and you know, it's all they're doing is they're trying to live off their name, and it's not acceptable. And look at that, I just bridged 3 legs there. Let's do better than that. Take this solder out and this one out, and reflow these ones again. Okay, I got another bridge here. I'm not feeling very good on this. Okay, I'll clean that up. Let's do these ones as well. I think this is the balance pot here. These ones aren't cracked yet. But the way these boards were flow soldered, with the tiny pads and lack of solder, it won't be long before they'll be cracked too. Look at this. Okay, so I'll reassemble this. I got this done, and I can put this back together now. How does this go back? I'm going to put this corner in. Put this corner, oh, we got to go, which way do we got to go here? This way. Put this corner in first, and then just snap it down into place, and then we can solder this. Okay. Let's try this. I'm not a big fan of making connections with solder bridges like this, because this is usually typically a spot where it'll crack as well. But we're going to do it. Okay. The trick is getting the right amount of solder. You don't want to put too much on, and you don't want to put too little. Okay, I'll clean that up and we'll reinstall it. Okay, I'm just about finished with this piece of garbage. I removed the two 3900 microfarad caps. These are fine, and they test fine, but I'm going to replace them with 6800s just to see if there's any performance boost. And we're going to plug these in now and solder them in. I could pretty much put any size caps I want in here. There's a lot of room for them. I don't think I could go higher. I can't go more diameter, but I can go in height quite a bit. So let's plug these in if I can get to cooperate. And let's plug these in, and wow, it doesn't want to stay. Okay, let's tack this one in place. See if we can give this thing a fighting chance to redeem itself. I kind of highly doubt it. Okay, next one. Just pull this cord over and it might hold it in place. It just wants to fall out. Okay. All right. So I've done pretty much everything I want to do to this thing, aside from cleaning switches, which I might just yet do. These switches, can't see them very good. They're the white ones, and they have no external holes or anything to allow me to spray any cleaner in. So that might be a job for another day. Might just take those switches out and clean them. Depends on how bad they are, but I'm going to leave it at that. For right now, I'm done. What I want to do is hook it back up to the load and see how it performs now, and we'll do a comparison to how it used to perform. Okay, we are wired in for another power test. You should be able to see the scope up on the screen. Let's turn this beast on and turn up the volume. See how well it does this time. Right there is clipping, and it's going to back it off a bit. Right there. And we are getting 16.45 volts RMS, which is a little bit of an improvement, because we stiffened up our power supply. It helped quite a bit. Maybe if I jack it up to there, we can get 17 volts. 17 volts, that's just the start of clipping right there. RMS. A little bit of improvement, not much. Okay. Let's try a square wave test. Let's see how it does on square wave. The tone controls are flat. It's not the greatest square wave I've ever seen. Let's try bass control, bass cut, bass boost, treble cut. Looks like it's adding distortion in there. It is. Flat, treble boost. Yeah, we're clipping. Turn this down. So, Tone controls are not the greatest on this amplifier, that's for sure. Balance, treble. Let's turn this up. Okay. The bass response is kind of weak. I have to crank it up to about 2 on the bass knob to get a flat response. Otherwise it looks horrible. So I'll have to keep that in mind when I listen to it. Right at 2. And the treble response is kind of twitchy. When I move it off the center spot, it does that. If I bring it back up, again, it's about 1.5 on the treble. And that's improved square wave over the tone controls being flat. Okay, let's try a little higher frequency here. Let's turn this up and see what it can do. 2 kilohertz, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what we can do with this. 5 kilohertz square wave. Boost the treble. Boost the bass. Does nothing. We're starting to lose our square wave right around 5 kilohertz, which isn't great. Let's go up some more. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've pretty much lost our square wave. Pretty slow rise times, pretty slow turn off times. Okay, let's go a little higher. 15 kilohertz. 20 kilohertz. And it's pretty much a sine wave now. This thing's getting hot. Treble cut, treble boost. Bass has no effect. .3 volts max on the output. Let's see where we go with this. Let's go back to sine wave. And let's measure frequency response. Okay, let's turn this up. Quite a bit of distortion. That's clipping actually. We're down at 10 hertz by the way. So let's get a baseline here. Set this to 10 volts RMS output. Right there, 10 volts RMS. Let's go up in frequency. (20, 30, 40 kilohertz, 40 hertz, and we've already jumped up to 12.5. So let's readjust this to 10 volts. Okay. And we'll keep going up in frequency. There's 400 hertz. And we're down slightly. Let's go all the way up to we're at 16 kilohertz, 17, starting to drop. 18 kilohertz, and we are already at 10.6 volts RMS. That's how much it just dropped. If I keep going, it's just going to keep going on dropping. What is going on there? That is 33 kilohertz. And we are at 50 kilohertz. That doesn't look good. $80 kilohertz. We're down to 4.4 volts RMS. Not the greatest frequency response on this thing. Okay. Quite hot. It's very hot. All right. So I've seen enough here. Now I want to know what you guys think. Clean up here. Now the reasoning behind what I'm doing here, I wanted to pick this amplifier up because it's a cheap Sansui amp and it's built on an STK chip. What I plan on doing is I bought a bunch more STK chips off of AliExpress, eBay. These are the same chips. Let me see here. This is an STK 4843, so I have STK 4843. Now I don't know if these are originals or what. I paid less than $10 a piece for them, which is fairly reasonable. Here I got an STK 4853, which is supposed to be a higher power amplifier. These do look legitimate because they have stamped in the upper right corner, looks like date codes. And the original has a stamp on the upper right corner as a date code. So these might very well be originals. I don't know. This one doesn't have the stamp, so it might be a forgery or counterfeit. STK 4843, got a couple of those. 4843. I might blow up a few of these. Another 4843. Yeah, so I got 4 extra 4843s, and we're going to do some testing on these. We're going to put them in circuit. We're going to stress test them. We're going to see what they're made of. If they blow up, we know that they're well, we're going to see how they perform. If maybe they survive, maybe they're not good, but we're going to find out. And I also have a couple higher power ones. I don't know if I'll include these in this test. I would have to upgrade the power transformer and power supply before I considered one of these. But that's my thoughts here anyway. So, introduction to the mule. This is my mule. It's going to be my workhorse for the while. What I'm going to do now is, since I recapped everything and everything's working, what I'm going to do is put this on the bench, on my listening bench, and I'm going to listen to it for a week or two, if I can handle listening to this crap for that long. And we're going to see how it sounds. And I'm going to get a good base reference of how this thing sounds before I start experimenting with these chips, which I don't know are counterfeit or not. They could be originals, could not be. They might not be. So that's my plan. So let me put this back together. And that's going to be it for this video. The tuner I'll address in a separate video. I think there's a lot of problems going on there. So I think I'm going to do is have a separate video for that one. That tuner is really messed up. So for now, this is it for this one. It's working as far as I can tell to its best capability, considering the poor design, the poor build quality, and the cheap components. All right, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you around.